divide everything up into compartments. We have to have a name on everything. Paleolithic, early archaic, mid-archaic, late archaic, and basket maker. Basket maker is the late archaic, before people started calling it corn. And so that transition from late basket maker into Anasazi happened around, right about the end of the fall of Rome, when it really crashed in, 5th, 6th, early 7th century in Europe, is the end of basket maker time here. And it wasn't like those people got cleaned up and they brought in the Anasazi like stage 3 of a act of a play. These people were in place and evolved in place. Just like if you look at our physical records, what archaeologists call material culture, and they call artifacts on the Discovery Channel, and I just call them stuff. People's stuff. If you look at our area, this is a pretty homogeneous demographic in here. You can, let's say there's 60, 65 people in here. I would bet that 4 or 5 of us, if you went back 700 years somewhere in southern England or the west coast of Scotland or central Germany, we had relatives sitting around the fire in the same village. I'd bet $1,000 on it. And I'm mostly Scotch, so I don't bet. So that's our gene pool in here is pretty homogeneous. If you looked at our progenitors back 300 years, the first people who came to North America from these places, Western Scotland, England, Germany, Holland, all their stuff is different. If you went into my 14-year-old girl's room now and looked at her stuff, and then looked at some 14-year-old girl, pilgrim girl in Connecticut or Massachusetts, you would think they came not maybe from different cultures, but maybe from different planets because of their stuff. And that's, a lot of it's based on technology and things. But you get the drift. Even before World War II, all that stuff was different. When all the cars were black and everybody wore hats, so material culture is always rolling over pretty quickly. And so that's what we're looking at with Anasazi stuff. That break. Where are these breaks? Why do these people have big arrowheads, big critter getters? Why do these people have little arrowheads, little critter getters? Why do these people have a lot of hand tools? Because they're processing stuff to eat. And why do these people not leave a record on the landscape? Like Yavapais that live around here, and Apaches. Nobody pays any attention to them except in John Ford movies because they didn't leave any stuff out on the landscape. They moved all the time, and 95% of their toolkit and their life was perishable, like our clothes and our hair, typing paper, and that kind of stuff, because all of their stuff was made out of vegetal material, plant fibers, rawhide, buckskin, and wood. And it's just all gone. And these people lived on the surface. They didn't dig in and preserve stuff. Occasionally you find food caches that these people left, and it's spectacular. And they made spectacular things, but they don't last on the surface. And kind of with that, I think maybe we'll start this boring slideshow. Did you guys ever see, remember the old Twilight Zone? Rod Serling? And then at some point he got new production money when color TVs came out, and he had a show for a couple of years. It was called Night Gallery.
Yes.
And he kind of did upscale Twilight Zone things. And there was one in there. I was raised in a little town in Mississippi River that was mostly Methodists. And this one show reminded me of that. They start out with what my grandma would call, it looks like a funeral parlor, but they're in a basement somewhere, and these 2 elderly white couples are having a slideshow from their most recent vacation. And they're having a great old time. They're eating sandwiches and drinking coffee and eating Thin Mints. And then all of a sudden there's this knock on the door. And they say, kind of surprised that these people come in, and it's all bikers dressed in full-on leather. There's Gomez Adams, the guy from the Adams family, and a bunch of these bikers, and they come in. My mind is a weird mess because I don't know why I remember this. This was like 1967. These bikers come sweeping in, and they go, "Yeah, where's the party, man? Where's the party?" And these white folks say, "Oh, it's right here. Please have a seat. Get some mints and some sandwiches." And they're like abhorred, these bikers, and they finally realize that in very C.S. Lewis-like fashion, that they're all dead, and the 2 white couples showing their slides forever. I mean, this isn't one slideshow; it's forever. Are in heaven, and these bikers have just been killed, and they're in hell. And it's the same little place. That's the college we went to, this Lutheran seminary college. We're all trained as existentialists. If you're a scientist or a Lutheran priest, because a minister, because these things are all that way, that absurdity of life kind of thing. So if you don't like slides, you're in big trouble. Before I start, though, I'm going to pass these around. These are what we call in the profession ground stone, not because they come from the ground, but because they've been ground into shape by the human hand. for specific uses. This is an 11th century. These aren't from the Grand Canyon. Ethically, we're not supposed to even have artifacts. It's like doctors doing morphine and stuff. It's unethical. But these are from sites in Utah that were going to be destroyed by oil well pads, or this one, in fact, from a waste pile from a vanadium plant. So they came along so I could use it for school and kids and stuff. But this is an 11th century Anasazi, Pueblo, and corn grinder. Usually these break after a few, so they discard them. But this village was abandoned, and now it's not. And it was used exclusively for grinding and processing corn. So I'll pass this around. Everybody can look at it. This is from maybe 15, 20 miles away from where this one was found, but up on the slope of the La Salle Mountains, on the site where Texaco is going to put in an oil pad up above La Salle, Utah. And this is from 2,000 to 3,000 years earlier. This is a basket maker tool. It's the tool of a hunter and gatherer. It's for processing all kinds of stuff, pulping small animals, working hides, grinding up pinion nuts, and all different kinds of things. It's the Cuisinart of basket maker people. And this is the tool of a village person, the flat one that's coming around. But this is the tool of a mobile hunter-gatherer that had seasonal camps. These just lay where they used them. They kept them there. They didn't. These people had, they carried stuff around with them. But when you're mobile all the time, and the woman is mostly responsible for carrying all the stuff, so the guy's always out hunting and gambling and figuring out what to do. The women have to break camp, carry it, and get to the next place. And so they don't have room to carry around 4-pound rocks everywhere. Hey, Bill, did you bring the mono? No. We'll get one at the next camp. And so you can see, in fact, this one was even used to process hematite or pigment. Now, when this comes around, if I did this to a group of 5th graders, if I did it to a graduate student group, somebody in that graduate student group will say, well, how do you know this is a tool? But if I did it to 5th graders, they all know. They all know. And we won't get into all of that this time. Anyway, I'll pass it around and you can decide for yourself. So, Lance, with that in mind...
I'm going to have to get the lights, Chris. Oops, I need to get the lights.
And I'll move around so you guys can see.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, listen, did you guys have to take public speaking when you were freshmen?
Of course.
Because the scholars we went to, everybody had to have public speaking. And if you had to miss, they had like 3 guys that taught it. And the guy I had was Ted Levander. Did you guys have him? He was the brother of the governor of Minnesota. It's a real nut job. He clung, he was a professional speaker, but he clung to his podium like he was a shipwrecked monkey. So,
It's fine.
Is that okay?
Yep.
can you guys see okay?
Yep.
I'll try to move around. So, how about if I come up here?
Yeah.
Speaking of existential, can anybody? This is a bird's eye view from the top rim of the canyon, inner canyon, overlooking the Little Colorado River. And the Little Colorado is the fluid that comes in here into the main, nasty, dangerous, freezing cold Big Colorado. And of course, the Big Colorado River is a big river out here, but compared to the Mississippi, it's about 100 times as small. If you look at the CFS, it's 20,000 CFS cubic feet a second going down to Colorado. The Mississippi, just as a matter of scale, is usually about 2 million normal flow per second, cubic feet per second. And notice how lovely this blue water is. It's because of the calcium carbonate is so thick in the water that it reflects the blue sky. And when it's a cloudy day, which hardly ever happens in the canyon, then it's white. And if it's flooding in the White Mountains and coming across all that red rock country, then it's red. It flows red. 6 miles up this canyon, 5.5, 6 miles up the Little Colorado, is where the river starts. If you've ever crossed you go from Flagstaff north, Tuba City, Kayenta, or wherever you're going, Grand Canyon, and you go over that bridge at Cameron, that kind of steep bridge, that's the Little Colorado down there, but there's hardly ever any water in it, unless it's flooding from the mountains. Because this river only runs 6 miles from a place, the Hopi call Blue Springs. And This will come into play a little more later. But the people we call Anasazi, these corn farmers that lived in the canyon and in the region between 700 AD and 1300 AD, give or take a generation or two. When the folks that were living in the canyon, most of the farmers left. Most of them left out this route and ended up at Hopi. The Zuni left too, ended up at other places on their march run until they ended up at Zuni. So this is the rugged terrain of the canyon. It's just incredibly beautiful down there, of course, but it's harsh and unforgiving as well. Next shot, please.